Hare Krishna, welcome to the Saturday Bhagavad Gita class. Let's chant the Mangala Charan prayers and we'll take it from there. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुताः पदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तविंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम
Hare
राम
Rama,
राम
Rama
हरे
Rama,
हरे
Hare Hare,
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna, Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna,
कृष्णा
Krishna
हरे
Krishna,
हरे
Hare Hare,
हरे राम
Hare Rama,
राम
Hare Rama,
राम
Rama
हरे
Rama,
हरे.
Hare Hare.
So we have done, we are into chapter 2, which is the contents of Gita summarized, also known as Jnana Yoga. And in this we will be doing Gita in a summarized way. If somebody does this second chapter properly, then he's supposed to have almost the entire knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. Let's see how far we go and we understand Bhagavad Gita in this chapter. So last verse we did was Ashochanam Chachuchasva Pratnyavadam Chabhashase. So in that, Krishna actually is chastising Arjun, and that's where he is telling him, that what are you talking about, and how come these kind of thoughts are coming into your mind suddenly, and how you can talk like this. So we did 11, and in which Krishna tells him that, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living or nor for the dead. But here you are talking like, you talking like a learned person, but actually this is Pradnya Vajam Sa Bhasha says. Actually, this is the talk of one who is doing a prajalpa. Prajal means a faltu ki bakwas karna. So the one who talks like a fool, you are talking like that, but using a very learned person's language. However, this what you are talking about does not make any sense for the person like you, who is my friend as well as a devotee. You are supposed to be a very learned person. but you are talking as if you don't have any knowledge. However, though Krishna says that, he actually wanted to give a kind of a shock treatment to Arjuna. Please wake up. What you're talking about? This is not what I expect from you. So understand what I'm saying. So in every line of the shloka, asochanda anvasochatvam, that which is not worth lamenting, you are lamenting upon. Asochanda, you are lamenting for which is not worthy of lamentation. Anvasochas, you are greatly lamenting for that. And while lamenting, Prajnavadam Chabase, your bhasha, your speech is Prajnavadam. You are speaking words which seem to be wise, but what is the sign of true wisdom? That is Gatasun Agatasunshya. So Asun is life air. So Gatasun means life air has gone away. Gatasun. That means when somebody is dead, it is Gatasun. Somebody is dead. Agatasun means life air has not gone away, means the person is not dead. So na plus anu plus sochanti. So the word socha is coming twice in this verse. Asochanna, anvasochas, and the nanu sochanti. So he is saying that the Pandit, the true learned person, does not lament, but you are lamenting. Nanu sochanti panditaha. So thereby he is saying you are mourning for that which is not worthy for mourning. So here Krishna sort of calling a bluff of Arjun. So what does he do? He is saying you are saying big words. Iti sushruva. I have heard from scriptures like this. Narke niyatam vaso, papameva. We will go to hell, we will get sin. You are speaking all these big words, but what is the practical reality? The practical reality is that you are overwhelmed by emotions. Because you are in emotions, you are talking like this. So education is not just verbalization of scriptural knowledge. It is the taking inside and then thinking about it. So education does not mean a qualification only or by hearting big scriptural verses, etc., but really getting into its meaning of it and then absorbing it completely in the mind and heart. So then you are actually in a situation where you have understood it completely. So that is the education. Even if you have done, big degrees, but you don't have the uh, common sense, so then are you educated? You are not educated then. Just by reading the big books, the thick books, does not give you the enough knowledge. The common sense, the Rishi Munis and all, they were not gone to big universities like London School of Economics or Cambridge or Harvard or IIT or IIMs, but they were much knowledgeable than all these people. And they have done wonders in our Vedic civilization. So the education of words, but education of emotions, education by which we know what emotions appropriate and what emotions are not appropriate. So what emotions are real and what emotions are illusory, that is the discrimination we should be able to do. Then only we will be taken or will be understood as educated people. Otherwise, this is all false. What you're saying is all false. Right? So this is where we were in the last week. Now today, we will go to the next verse. That is 2.12. And let's see what 2.12 now say. So I'll chant and you repeat. Na tvevaham jatunasam natvam nime janadipaha.
न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं त्वं
त्वं
नेमि
न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे मयपतम्बरम्.
न चैव
न
न
चैव न
भविष्यामः
भविष्यामः
सर्वे
सर्वे
वयतमः
वयं
परम् वयमतः परम्
न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्
न
न त्वे अहं
चतुर्नासं न
न
त्वं
त्वं
नेमे जनाधिपा
न
न
चैव
चैवेन भविष्यं सर्वे वायमतः परम्
Bhavishyamah. Bhavishyamah. So pronunciation
भविष्यामः
Bhavishyamah. Okay. Okay. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. I repeat again. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So, what Krishna is saying here, that there was not a single moment where I was not existing, you were not existing, any of these kings were not existing. We all were existed. He is not still saying that in what form we were existing. Okay, that is still coming, you know. Secret abhi baki hai, like, you know. So here he's saying that I was always existing, you were also existing, and others also were existing. And in the future, also the existence will still be there. So why are you lamenting upon? What are you lamenting upon? It is a beautiful purport, and I will ask Deepa to first read first full paragraph, and then Madhuri.
Thank you, Prabhuji. In the Vedas, in the Katha Upanishad, as well as in the Shvetasvatara Upanishad, it is said that Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities in terms of their different situations according to individual work and reaction of work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is also, by his plenary portions, alive in the heart of every living entity. Only saintly persons who can see within and without the same Supreme Lord can actually attain to perfect and eternal peace. Nityo nityanam chetananam eko bhunam
No,
yo
Bahunam,
bahunam
Eko
yo
Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kamam.
vidhatati kaman.
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 Whenever there is a line above A, it is A.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhuji. Tam atmastam ya nupasyanti dhiras te sam
Tesham Shanti
shanti
Shashwati Netrashyam.
shashvati nitresam.
Hmm.
I continue?
Yeah.
Yeah, the same Vedic truth given to Arjuna is given to all persons in the world who pose themselves as very learned but factually have but a poor fund of knowledge. The Lord says clearly that he himself, Arjuna, and all the kings who are assembled in the battlefield are eternally individual beings, and that the Lord is eternally the maintainer of the individual living entities, both in their conditioned and in their liberated situations. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Individual Person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associate, and all the kings assembled there are individual eternal persons. It is not that they did not exist as individuals in the past, and it is not that they will not remain eternal persons. Their individuality existed in their past, and their individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause of lamentation for anyone. The Mayavadi theory that after liberation, the individual soul, separated by covering of Maya or illusion, will merge into impersonal Brahman and lose its individual existence is not supported herein by Lord Krishna, the supreme authority. Nor is the theory that we only think of individuality in the conditioned state supported herein. Krishna says clearly herein that in the future also the individuality of the Lord and others, as it is confirmed in Upanishads, will continue eternally. This statement of Krishna's is authoritative because Krishna cannot be subject to illusion. If individuality were not a fact, then Krishna would not have stressed it so much, even for the future. The Mayavadi may argue that the individuality spoken by Krishna is not spiritual but material. Even accepting the argument that the individuality is material, then how can one distinguish Krishna's individuality? Krishna affirms his individuality in the past and confirms his individuality in the future also. He has confirmed his individuality in many ways, and impersonal Brahman has been declared to be subordinate to him. Krishna has maintained spiritual individuality all along. If he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul in individual consciousness, then his Bhagavad Gita has no values as authoritative scripture.
Yeah,
A
pause
comment.
here. So just pause here. So now what we understand here that Krishna is saying that the argument of individuality is material. That's what Arjuna is lamenting upon. Whereas Krishna is saying that the individuality of being a spiritual identity is always going to be there. And that is what Krishna is talking about. So a learned person is supposed to be learned only when that he knows that our individual identity is not by body, but it is the spiritual existence. That is by way of having the soul's identity. Yeah. So when he is saying that the individuality has to be understood, and that individuality, because Krishna is not subject to any illusion, but in the human identity, we are subject to illusion, and we have to come out of that illusion, and for that we need the spiritual knowledge. And that's where we are when we are trying to understand Bhagavad Gita from the source himself, that is Krishna. Krishna is the source, and from where we are trying to understand this knowledge authoritatively. So when we are understanding direct from Krishna, Krishna is giving us the right education in order for us to go ahead. So natvam evaham jatu nasham. So he said, certainly not, but aham na asam. There was not a time when I did not exist. Natvam neme janadhipaha. Nor you, nor am janadhipa. So not these kings as well. Nacha eva. Nor even certainly, nor na bhavishyami. So there was not a time in past when you and these kings did not exist, nor in the future, in the bhavishya as well. Sarve vayam, all of us, atah param, hereafter all will cease to exist. We will always exist. Nobody is going to cease to be existed. So this is very significant verse in the overall message of Bhagavad Gita. So Arjun's fear is what? These are my relatives. If I will kill them, what will happen? And that is what the illusory power of this Maya. But we are always in one of the modes. Either we are in the mode of Yoga Maya, or we are in the Yoga Maya, or which is the other Maya? Mahamaya. So either in the Mahamaya or we are in the Yoga Maya. If we are in Yoga Maya, that means we are working in the direction of Krishna. See, both energies are of Krishna. One is external energy, one is internal energy. So Yoga Maya, as long as we are in Yoga Maya, we are spiritual. The moment we come in Mahamaya, then we are material. Okay, so this is what we need to understand and take it from there. So now, Madhuri, can you read? A common man with all the four defect.
Prabhuji, I just have a question. Can I?
Yeah, please.
So Yogamaya and Mahamaya, when you say, so these both can be attained as like this body, or is something Yogamaya can be attained only when it's associated
See,
to
we have a dual personality. Sometimes we
Yeah.
are in Yogamaya, sometimes we are in Mahamaya. So when we are affected by the modes of material nature, we are in Mahamaya.
Mm.
When we are not, when we are,
Mm.
see, there are three gunas: Satgun, Tamogun, and
Rajogun.
Rajogun, right? So in three gunas, we are always caught up.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay? So when we are in Sataguna, that means we are in the Yogamaya.
Yogamaya.
When we are Rajo and Tama, that time we are in Mahamaya mode.
Okay, got it. So in a day, you can be across any mayas actually. Yeah.
And we keep oscillating between these two. So like pendulum of the clock.
Yeah.
Either here or here. So depending on what is the practice that you are following and how, um, with what frequency and with what intensity that you have the practices you are doing it, accordingly your pendulum will go to that side.
Got it.
We always want to remain in the Yoga Maya stage, but that is not possible in this body. But it does not mean that we should not try.
Yeah.
We are in this, at least we have got an opportunity wherein we can go back to Godhead while we are in the Yoga Maya, we are in this body. Otherwise, have you seen ever the dog is doing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare? Right? So at least we got an opportunity there where our consciousness has been elevated and we can follow some practices. Yeah, so all the knowledge, this all bhandar is for us to understand, get educated, remain in the yoga vaya all 24/7. But that's the problem. We can't, isn't it?
Thank you, Prabhuji. I also had one more question. Sorry,
Yes.
Madhuri.
No, that's go on.
We also say, like, as I was going through this puppet, I got to know that soul is nothing but energy. So as we all know, we have read in during our school or uni times, as energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So just a simple thing just came in my mind. In olden days, we say there was no much population. Of late, there is so much of population. So where was these soul at olden days, and why are there is so much of population now?
Very good question. So what happens is we all were eternally existed. As we read in Bhagavad Gita, we understand that fact. But your question is very good. That how come suddenly so much population has begun? See, the souls are not getting manufactured. Souls are existing there. Those who want to enjoy their happiness away from Krishna, they come and take birth in this material world. Or there are 8.4 million species, of which there is a gradual progression that the species are getting gradually progress to the better species, then better species, then better species. So you see, there are some species which are vanishing.
Yeah.
And those species, though they are vanishing, but number of souls are increasing in the human body. So
you're saying maybe they
like
transformed and became
exactly.
in other way we can
they
say
are coming in, either they are coming from the spiritual world and getting the birth here as a human, or there are some souls which are getting gradual progression. They are elevated.
That's so nice. Yeah, we can say that the animals are extinct, so we no longer see. So maybe they have progressed into some kind of a human.
Exactly. See, nothing is completely gone, or
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. That
no
was
problem. Anytime. Yes, Madhuri.
Prabhuji, like in this verse, it says, like, never there was a time when I did not exist. Like, we took another birth and we came as a human, but God is
Yes.
inside us. But
So
like
what was that we, that I? That was the soul, right? So he's not talking about the body, he's actually talking about the soul. And that is the very point that we need to understand, that he's talking about soul and we have to concentrate upon the soul. that soul is getting another body, another body, another body, another body. After
Yeah.
every Janma, that Janma is of the body, not of the soul. Soul is always existing. ये मेरा नया घर है, मेरा घर, ये तेरा घर.
So when Krishna came as a human on the
Yeah, so
earth,
he has taken out. So he's always taking the avatar. You know, he has taken so many avatars.
Yeah.
So when he came here to just play his leelas on this material world. So why do Krishna come? We have already read that. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhakti bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam paritranaya sadhunam. So that is the main thing. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma
Dharma
samsthapanarthaya
Bhava.
sambhavami yuge yuge. So whenever there is a decline of dharma, and when there is any wrongdoings are happening on the devotees of Krishna, that time he will come. And what he will do? Paritranaya sadhunam. He will try and
Protect.
help his devotees, sadhunam. Paritranaya sadhunam. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. He will kill all the demons. Vinashaya dushkritam. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. He will do the sthapana of the dharma. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge. Like yuga by yuga, he keeps on doing the same thing. So every yuga, Krishna is coming in some avatar and doing it. This work.
Yeah. Thank you.
So these Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, this is a cycle. It will keep on happening.
Yeah.
Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. So in his presence, in his presidential ship, everything is happening. So he is, around him everything is happening, and he is the caretaker of everyone. It does not mean that we do whatever and then Krishna will take care of us. No, we have to do the right thing at the same time. हम तो कुछ भी करेंगे, तुम ठीक करो हमारे, ऐसा नहीं होगा. Like that. So I will do the kachara in front of my house. Somebody will, clean it. No. There could be someone who will bring the kachara and throw it in your house as well sometime. Yes, Madhuri.
A common man with all the four defects of human frailty is unable to teach that which is worth hearing. The Gita is above such literature. No mundane book compares with the Bhagavad Gita. When one accepts Krishna as an ordinary man, the Gita loses all importance. The Mayavadi argues that the popularity mentioned in this verse is conventional and that it refers to the body. But previous to this verse, such a bodily conception is already condemned. After condemning the bodily conception of the living entities, how was it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition on the body again? Therefore, individuality is maintained on spiritual grounds and is thus confirmed by the great acharyas like Sri Ramanuja and others. It is clearly mentioned in many places in the Gita that the spiritual individuality is understood by those who are devotees of the Lord. Those who are envious of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead have no bona fide access to the great literature. The non-devotees approach to the teaching of the Gita is something like that of a bee licking on the bottle of honey. One cannot have a taste of honey unless one opens the bottle. Similarly, the mysticism of the Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees and no one else can taste it, as it is stated in the 4th chapter of the book. Nor can the Gita be touched by persons who envy the very existence of the Lord.
Yeah, stop here. So what Prabhupada is explaining very nicely that Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by the devotees. Others can only be, talking only in, in circles. using some context or content of the Bhagavad Gita for their own benefit and put themselves in place of Krishna.
Hmm.
So it is there, they have a very impersonal thought, impersonal understanding of Krishna, where they put themselves for their own selfish desires. Like Bhagavad Gita written by, what is his name, Dr. Radhakrishnan. He lost the meaning of Krishna in there. He didn't talk about that. He just said some energy, something like that. So he has not clearly written who Krishna is all about. So lots of authors are there, but none of them have given the right definition and the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. That's why Prabhupada has used it very intelligently, that the bee who is licking only the outside of the bottle of honey. He didn't want to write anything bad, so he used that vocabulary there. Okay. Devilila, do you want to read the last paragraph?
The page number 78.
Therefore, the Mayavadi explanation. See, why I ask each one of you to read, so that I want to see whether you are concentrating on the book or not. It is very important to read Prabhupada's purport, otherwise you will never read it.
Therefore, the Mayavadi explanation of the Gita is the most misleading presentation of the whole truth. Lord Chaitanya has forbidden us to read commentations made by the Mayavadis and warns that that one who takes to such an understanding of the Mayavadi philosophy loses all power to understand the real mystery of the Gita. If individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of teaching by the Lord. The plurality of the individual soul and the Lord is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed by the Vedas as above mentioned.
So what actually the crux of the matter here is Krishna is telling Arjun that there was not a single moment where you didn't exist, I didn't exist, or all the kings didn't exist. We all were existing before, existing now, and will exist in future. Only thing that the way you are understanding it is incorrect. So he says that they all die. So Krishna says, no, there was never a time when they did not exist, or will be a time when they will not exist. That means we are all eternal. We are not temporary here. So Krishna, before teaching about soul, very directly emphasizes on eternity of personality. What is the meaning of this? He emphasizes that all of us are eternal people, eternal persons. Eternally, we are persons. Interpersonal idea is the idea of I and you are illusion, the identity of I is the biggest problem. So in future, when I will dissolve and merge in cosmic consciousness, then all miseries ended that time. But this idea is an illusory idea. That means we are getting merged in the Brahma Jyoti. So that is a wrong idea. We never get merged into. सब कुछ खत्म हो जाएगा हम जब मर जाएंगे तो रात गई बात गई. No, it doesn't happen that way. There is only a materialistic idea that this will happen. So what Krishna is saying that, that this is an illusory idea, illusory identity of it. The I is the biggest problem. So Ramanujacharya is one of the, great acharyas in his Gita Bhashya, where he keeps points very simple and general. So his Shri Bhashya is a very intricate. He gets into such solid arguments, smashing apart Shrika Bhashya, which is a commentary of Vedanta Sutra by Shankaracharya. So Ramanujacharya is like running in the battlefield, pounding on all the arguments. Madhvacharya is also in the same mood in his commentary on Brahma Sutra Bhashya. There are various acharyas have written beautiful commentaries on this. The only point is, whether we are interested in reading all this and trying to understand, and we want to grasp all that knowledge, keep it in not only in our brain. We need to again reciprocate that. In what way? By distributing this knowledge to others. That's where the whole motto of teaching Bhagavad Gita of Vaishnava Training Academy is to develop the spiritual leaders. So when you become spiritual leader by reading all this very scrutinizingly, you will be a part of a teaching faculty wherein you will give this knowledge to others. Otherwise, I am there today, I may not be there tomorrow. Because life has a limitation, So we need to have, continuous factory, there's a factory model in Java or C, C++, So we are implementing that factory model here, wherein we keep on, producing the new leaders who are knowledgeable in terms of giving the knowledge to others. And there is no age limit in this. Anyone at any time get this knowledge and can distribute this knowledge to others. Only good thing is there. I mean, you have to take some pains of reading these books without any gap. You have to read. There's no discount, to be honest. If you think that only in the class we will read it, and that's why I make it very important for reading the purport, because I know none of you are reading it. After the class, we just forget it, wait for the next class. It's good that you are coming to the every class, which is really very, appreciable. However, if you read this purport yourself before coming to the class, for the verses that we are going to discuss here, I will only talk about the intricacies of these verses. If you come prepared reading the purport of Srila Prabhupada, then I don't need to ask you to read this in the class and make you read. But that's not possible, I see, because nobody is putting that effort at the moment. Because I'm very lucky that you guys are at least coming to the class and every week, So that is something, which is really appreciable. But if you don't read, it will not make sense. You have to read. You have to read,
We'll try to read it, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So
Yes.
reading makes it, it always goes in our brain and it resides there because continuously reading, What we say is, the cramming of the verses, that we cram it and one point in time it goes and stays there. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So then you can randomly state those few things which will never forget. Similarly, you have to read the books of Srila Prabhupada, listen to the lectures of Acharyas, and whatever classes we are recording, you can listen to them as well, just for your continuous, repetition, so that whatever point you might have missed to hear, that also can be covered nicely. Yeah. So various acharyas have done, and some Mayavadis also have written some books. So we have to be very careful that what kind of books are we reading and whose commentaries are we, following. So that's why we have prescribed, acharyas whose books are to be read. First is Srila Prabhupada. Because nobody has written any book on Bhagavad Gita other than Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON. Okay, that is the first thing. Secondly, don't go for any Gita Sar and all those. They come in any XYZ books. I'm not naming any book because they don't represent the right philosophy, and we lose the meaning, the original meaning, original translation, and the bhava that comes in there.
Yeah.
So if we lose the essence, then we are not, connecting the two dots here together. So it's always be very, very careful that what kind of books are we reading. Prabhupada books means Prabhupada books. Please read them. And we are very, very, strict on that, that our students should always read Prabhupada books, because then they will be, if they read Prabhupada books from anywhere, you will get the right meaning, always. He has always called Bhagavan as Supreme Personality of Godhead, period. In one class, Prabhupada was giving, and there was a small girl who was playing, and she was continuously running here and there. And the one Englishman, he was supposed to be a very learned person. He was asking that, then who is Krishna? Then Prabhupada asked that girl, Radha, come here. The Radha came and who is Krishna? Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prabhupada. So this is how the knowledge goes to even the small kids. And she was in a second she was able to say that, from that age. It does not mean that they were only given just this terminology, but they do understand as well why Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That he is the supreme, he is the supreme person. Okay, we'll go to the next verse. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara.
देहिनोऽस्मिन्
यथा
यथे
देहे
कौमारं
कौमारं यौवनं जरा
तथा देहांतर प्राप्त धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति.
तथा
तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्
देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्
धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यते
Once more. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra na muhyati.
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं
यौवनं
जरा तथा
तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्
देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्
धीरस्तत्र न
न
मुह्यति
मुह्यति.
So there is a one tune and meter that I always follow. Please try to understand that. The first line. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra na muhyati. Sounds good? Yeah.
Yes.
So always try to maintain the same meter. Otherwise, we'll be always standing in a different tone. Because I want this team of class, we all should be able to recite second chapter completely on the Gita Jayanti this year, in the month of December.
Okay.
Okay? And led by Madhuri Mataji or Deepa.
I was about to text Madhuri ji that how her, apart from you, how her pronunciation and all is so clear, Is she practicing before she comes here? It is so, I wanted to take guidance from her
I
actually.
think she's got that God gifted.
I know. I am close to, like, I read Vishnu Sahasranamam and things like that, but
Yeah.
any
No,
new, it takes
I can
time.
see that. I can see that. Your pronunciation is also very good.
Yeah.
Keep it
I
up.
will contact you, Madhuri ji. Of course, I will, Prabhu ji, but yeah, these things I will. Any questions related to Bhagavad Gita, I will contact you, Prabhu ji.
I make sure I read every time after Madhuri Mataji so that I can pick up from her as well.
I know her pronunciation is so good.
Devlina is a copycat.
No, she's very good.
Yeah, she is good. मैं उसी की टांग ज्यादा खींचता हूँ जो ज्यादा अच्छा होता है.
He's the youngest, isn't it?
Good savior, Prabhuji.
She's the
once
youngest.
more.
इन्हीं का टांग खींचते हैं जो छोटे.
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरः प्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति.
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर् धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति.
Yeah, Devlina, please read the translation.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Yeah. Deepa, you read it out.
Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the
No,
same
no, no. I
spirit.
asked you to read the translation.
Oh, the
Not the
translation.
purport.
Sorry. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from body boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Yeah. So why suddenly this verse came after Krishna has talked about that we are eternal souls, we are not material, you know. From there, how come directly he came on to this one? If you could relate this to the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the last section, Arjun starts talking about the first doubt of his, that is about the compassion. He talks about compassion. What was his thought on the compassion, Madhuri?
Mm. Like I can't fight with my relatives
Very good.
and my
Yeah.
gurus and
And that
all
was
those
the
people.
relation to the last verse, right? In that, and he says that how can I kill my people?
Yes.
Because they are my relatives, they are my elders, they are my grandfathers, my siblings, my maternal uncle, and this and that, all those things he says. And then how can I kill them? So now the next is what Krishna is saying. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe. Kaumaram yauvanam jarasa. So this is the gradual progression of once the jiva is created in a body. So the soul comes into the body. When does it come?
No.
When the conception happens, right? In the womb. So the first comes, so sperm meets and then it creates conception, and that's where the jiva starts to get created. And from there, the birth happens. After the birth, there is a child that is toddler, then it becomes young, then you call it
Mm.
Kaumaram, then
Come on.
then
Adult.
and then
Mm.
like that. So we are gradually progressing towards getting older as well, And so Kaumaram, Yovanam, then Jara, and then they are going to Vanaprastha. So those are the stages in which all these stages the jiva goes through, the soul goes through. Yeah. So he's saying dehinosmil yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tastra na muyat. The one who is dhira, he doesn't get bewildered. So who is dhira? The one who is sober. The sober person does not get bewildered by such a change. But who is sober? That is a big
Mm.
question, isn't it? The sober is the one who has the knowledge about this. That yes, this is only a temporary arrangement because everything is temporary in this world. Yeah. So let Madhavi Mataji read the purport.
Okay. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjun on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering, according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next lives. or at least live in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So, in either case, there was no cause of lamentation.
Yeah, pause here.
And
So let Madhavi Mataji read this time.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And I'm so happy that even though it was Madhuri Mataji read it for me.
Yeah, I know. I actually said Madhavi and you thought Madhuri, but that's fine. That's fine.
That's it. Thank you.
The nice of Madhavi Mataji, she didn't feel bad about it.
No. Life is too short to feel bad about anything.
Oh, so good.
He's already sober, see?
I try to be. I'm in the Krishna consciousness class. Okay. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable, against the principle of the supreme souls being unchangeable. Should I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, go on.
As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portions of the Supreme exist eternally, Sanatana, and are called Sara. That is, they have a
Akshara,
Akshara.
Akshara and Kshara.
Akshara.
Yeah.
That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. The theory of reflection can be applied to the supersoul, who is present in each and every individual body and is known as the Paramatma. He is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in water, the reflections represent both the sun and the moon and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities and the sun or the moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. They are not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the 4th chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna, and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then the relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy, Maya, then there is no need of one being the instructor and the other the instructed. Such instruction would be useless because, in the clutches of Maya, no one can be an authoritative instructor. Under these circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity, Arjuna, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya.
Wonderful. Very good.
Very nice.
Nice reading, Mataji.
Thank you.
So now the from 2.12 to 2.30, in this number of verses, Krishna is going to talk about the jnana, about the compassion. What kind of jnana is required in order to come out of compassion ground? The person, when it is very, very deeply rooted compassion that he has. So after discussing about the eternality of the individuals, this verse, Krishna is talking about the spirituality of the individuals. So, Dehino is inside the Deha, Asmin, there is Yatha Dehe. Inside the body, there is the owner of the body. And what is the nature of that owner? Although the body is changing, the owner remains unchanged.
Hmm.
Is that owner is
Spirit.
No, the soul.
Soul.
So,
Yeah. See, because I was a toddler, then I became young, then I'm semi-old, I'll be old,
Mm.
like that. So actually, it is my body is changing every moment.
Mm.
Who is changing?
Body is changing.
Body is
Body is changing.
changing.
Soul
But the
remains.
soul is still there, right? The
Soul is
owner is still
changing.
there. And
Mm.
Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara. So boyhood, youth, and old age, these are the stages through which the body will go through. But the dehe, the person who is situated inside the body, will remain unchanging. And similarly, tatha dehantara praptir. And similarly, when the person dies, at that time the person gets another body. Dehantara praptir. A wise person, na muhyati, not bewildered.
Mm.
So now Srila Prabhupada translated dhira as sober person because sometimes English doesn't have the equivalent Sanskrit word.
Mm.
So sober is used in the context of alcohol, either not affected or given up alcohol. you know, so
Mm.
person who is intoxicated and the person who is not intoxicated. So dhira is the person who is not intoxicated,
Mm.
so that he can understand the things properly in that proper context. So dhiras tatra na muhyate. The body conception is like intoxication, and become free from that intoxication is goal of life. And the goal of life is promoted by practice of devotional service, by which we will be free from bodily conception. Right?
Mm.
Bhagavad Gita does not give all the message at once. It builds up the message gradually.
Mm.
It didn't give all the message instantly. Here, devotional service is not mentioned directly, it is mentioned to become a dhira first. So once you become the sober person, then you are in a capacity wherein you will be able to get the devotional life easily. Because a sober person will not get troubled by the illusory powers of this world. Because see, he can stay away from Maya because there is so many attractions. Even you might have heard that the uh, so many apsaras have come to so many rishis and they have tried to attract them and spoil their meditation.
Mm.
So all those we are aware of those kind of incidents in our shastras. So Bhagavad Gita doesn't give all these messages at once. So if the indirect meaning is if somebody is troubled by this, then what person needs to become intelligent? Then the trouble will not be there anymore. So he has to become intelligent first of all. And how the intelligence will come? Only by knowledge that time and the association of the like-minded people and a guru to give that knowledge.
Yep.
Yeah. So Krishna is giving instruction here indirectly. For example, when we see a boy after some time, we will say that here you have grown so much. So you were small and now you are big. That is what we say. So there is unchanging dimension that is addressed by you, and there is a changing dimension which is addressed as you were like this. So we are, pointing towards the past, and then we are comparing that with the now. So you are now like this, you were like this, like that. No? So we have two dimensions here: changing dimension and unchanging dimension, or a feature. So dark color person can do some plastic surgery and become fair. Small nose become big nose, and fat can become thin. But whatever they do, they remain the same person. Adnan Sami was an elephant. Now he is not. So, like that.
Mm.
You have seen Adnan Sami, right?
Yeah.
Kabhi to nazar milao, like
Lift करा दो.
left grado. Yeah, same thing. So, so person is grown up. He is in the same person or different. There are some biological changes that has happened through the heart and arm looks same, but the cell which makes the heart and arm they keep changing. So if a thing is nothing but it is component then the essential point is, if all the components are changed in the thing is same or difference, so we could say that thing is changed and thing is still the same. There is no difference. It was like this, now state is changed. Before we take the shower and after we take the shower, we are wet, and then we clean the body and then we again get dried up. So that kind of a state change from here to here. I get freshen up and I come back. I look better. But do the person changes? No, it doesn't change. So there are two types of reincarnation here. Now here comes the question as reincarnation. So before we go into the incarna is a word. Incarna means flesh. Okay. So in reincarnation means you are getting a new flesh on your body. Reincarnation. So I was 5 years ago, I was something. Now I have become something. So I am also changing every time. So this is the reincarnation of a person is happening continuously. And it's a continuous process. Yeah. So that continuous happening process, we don't even realize that it is happening to us. A friend who has seen you 20 years ago will come and see you now. You will see changes in him, and you will see changes in, he will see the changes in you. He'll say, oh, how come you become so fat or you become so thin or whatever? Because we are always, in that bodily features aspect, all the time. If the girls meeting each other, oh, tu kitni patli ho gayi hai, like that. So you're looking the same, you were looking before, like that. So these are the bodily changes that gradually happen, because that suddenly doesn't make much a difference, but gradual difference. As person can be seen only after many years of absence to each other, and then they meet. Then they can find the difference between the two. But if you are on a daily basis, when you see each other, we don't find that difference. All right, any question before we move forward? Okay. Next verse. Matra sparashastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada.
Matra sparshasthu
Matrasparshasthu
kaunteya
Kaunteya
sitosna
Sitosna Sukha Dukkhada
Agama paino nityam santitikshasva bharata.
Agama
Agamapaino
nityas
Titiswa Bharata
किस किस की जीप
Sasva
किस किस की जीप टूटी इसमें?
सबकी
Okay.
Agama
चलो, I'll go. I'll
plus
take it now. Okay.
Agama
Matra sparashastu kaunteya
Matra sparshasthu
Matrasparshasthu
kaunteya
Kaunteya
shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha.
Shitoshna
Sitosna
Sitosna
Sukha
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 Dukkhada
dukkadaha
Agama paino nityas
Agama
Agamapaino
payano
Nityas
nityas
tamsa titikshva bharata.
Tam
Tamsatitikshva bharata
Bharata
Once more. Matra sparashastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada.
Matra
Matrasparshasthu
sparshasthu
Kaunteya
kaunteya Shitosna
Sukha
sukha
Dukkha
Agama paino nityas
Agamapaino Nityas
nityas
tamstitikshva bharata.
Tamstitiswa Bharata
Bharata
I'm only repeating the last line. Agama paino nityas
Agamapaino Nityas
tamstitikshva bharata.
Tamsatitikshva
Tamstitiswa
Bharata.
Bharata
Now you understood? Yeah, clear? Devlina?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Now last time. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama paino nityas stantis tititva bharata.
Matra
Sparshas Kaunteya
Shitosa
Sukha-dukkada
Dukkada
Agamapayo
Agamapayo
Nityas
Tanshittikshitva Bharata.
Bharata.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O shrine of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. I repeat, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O shrine of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Devlina, please read the purport.
In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non permanent appearances and disappearances of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath daily in the morning, even during the month of Magha, January, February. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in months of May and June, the hottest part of the summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is the religious principle of the Kshatriya. And although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge. Because by knowledge and devotion only can one liberate himself from the clutches of Maya illusion. The two different names of address given to Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Konteya signifies his great blood relations from his mother's side, and to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both sides, he is supposed to have a great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting.
Wonderful. So here we are continually talking about the compassion aspect that is Arjuna has asked the questions about. Now, just to elaborate that, Arjun says that I'm concerned because my relatives will not be there with me, and I will be the cause of their death. So not only death, I'll be the cause of their,
Yeah.
the cause of their murder. So what will happen after that? So next verse, Krishna is now talking about the tolerance, how we tolerate the summer and the winter. Now this analogy looks very, very weak in terms of the seasonal changes to somebody's death, who's getting killed. However, when you see the analogy in terms of what is changing, body is gone, the soul is going into another body. So it is like changing of the seasons. यहाँ था उधर क्या चला गया, like staying in base property, now she is staying in the some other, Ray and White's property. One Chinese is gone away, other Chinese has come. So
I can't attend this class without speaker without earphones. आप speaker पे सुन लेंगी अभी भी निकाल देगी घर से. क्या दुश्मनी है आपको मुझसे?
See, unless there is a fun, class will become boring, isn't it? So,
हाँ, मुझे बेगर कर दो, फिर क्लास करते रहो आप लोग.
okay, sorry.
नहीं, इट्स ओके. वैसे भी तो मुझे भी बोलने का मन तो है ही, चिंकी कहेंगी.
So Sankhya, so here we are talking about a Sankhya philosophy, you know. The Sankhya philosophy, soul is indestructible. So Arjun is, if I fight, my relative will be killed. Sankhya means analysis. So he's just doing an analysis of, if I do this, this will happen. This will happen. So Krishna says, don't live on bodily conception. Practice of dharma will never cause any harm. That's what Krishna is trying to tell in a nutshell. If we try to understand this even more in the context, then matra sparsha, contact of senses to the sense object, to Kaunteya. Krishna is referring Arjun by a form which is connected with his body, Kaunteya, because he is the son of Kunti Maharani, right? So that's why he's calling him Kaunteya. So why he is saying him Kaunteya? Just to remind him that, oh, you are a son of Kunti, right? How are you talking like this? You know? How can you talk like this? So by saying Kaunteya, he is not only reminding that he is the son of Kunti, he is also reminding him that you are the son of Shayan of Bharata. You come from the Bharat dynasty, at the topmost in Bharat Varsha. So you are coming from that dynasty, that lineage. How can you talk like this? You know. So when you are coming from that lineage, you are supposed to be more, understanding person. You are even more sober. So it is paradoxical. As in previous 3 verses, bodily conception is condemned. Now here he is saying, one was Arjun, you are, so now Krishna is actually, why it is paradoxical? Because in one side he was saying that don't remain in the bodily conception. Now Krishna himself is saying that, oh, you come from the Kunti's son, and you come from Bharat Vansha. Then how are you talking like this? So again, here the bodily concept comes into picture. But there it is saying that, oh, don't remain in the bodily context. So why it is saying like that? Because Arjun, when he is speaking as learned words, but his emotions are showing that he is uneducated. So even if one person is educated and not eternally does not have eternal knowledge of the subject matter, he still has to think and talk like a sober person who is dhira. He understands. So this is the question of dharma, that why I have to kill this. Dharma and adharma. Kshatriya's dharma is what? To administer. To administer. To do the justice and proper justice. And Arjuna was placed in that condition, that situation where he has to do the dharma. And adharma was happening with them already. So he is fighting against the adharma to establish dharma and helping Krishna to establish dharma. See how the relationship. Sarva dharman pratyaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. So leave all dharmas and just surrender to me. So that is the message he's actually trying to give. And every time such situation comes, Krishna is giving the same message to us. So dehinosmin yatha dehe. Dehinosmin yatha dehe. Kaumaram yovanam jara. And here he's saying Matas Parishastu Kauntiya. Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhada. So it is like summer and winter seasons. So multiple level of understanding. Here Kaunteya refers to son of Kunti. Kunti is a great devotee, and Bharata, descendant of Bharat dynasty. So they were great devotees of in Bharat dynasty. These addresses become spiritual. So here, Krishna is reminding Arjun that he is in dynasty of great devotees who know all these things, so he should not think like this. If we take names connected with great devotees, it pleases. So similarly, in next verse 2.15, we have Yam hi na yathanti te Purushar Shabha. So there we'll talk about that. So best among the Purushas, similarly later in the Bhagavad Gita, have Deha Britam Varaha. So we'll come to that later. But point is to enable people to move onward in spiritual path, elevate them. We should not pinch the false ego, nor inflate these false ego, but pat the false ego. Says, yes, you being a great family. Now act in a great way. Because you come from the Bharat dynasty, you need to come out and act accordingly. Though it is paradoxical, but at the same time, it is, pleasing to Arjun. And his self uh, prestige gets awakened that, oh, I belong to Bharat. I'm Kaunteya. I'm Kunti's putra. She's a devotee. So I'm a devotee as well. How can I behave like this? So Krishna knows how to twist the arm of Arjun. So he's doing it accordingly and that depending on the situation, time, place, and circumstances. Yeah. TPC, I call it. TPC Vanda. So Matra Sparsha, what is Matra Sparsha? Sparshas is contact. Matra is sense object. And material things which comprises sense objects. So Matra Sparshas refers to the contact with the material senses. So sense object in contact with the material senses can cause various dualities. Sitoshna is heat and cold. Sita Ushna, Sitoshna, heat and cold. Sukha Dukkha, happiness, distress. Now, one should understand that this is like Agama Payino Nityas. There is beginning and end of such things. Agama and Payino Nityas. It is temporary, so one should tolerate it. Tams Titikshava Bharataha. So when leech stuck with the body, they will suck blood. Even if you will pull them apart, they will not come out until the time their stomach is full. Then they leave the body automatically. Have you seen that how leech takes out the the poison at a certain place in the body? They put leeches there, and the leech will suck all the blood from there. It takes out the bad blood, and the poison comes out from there, and then it leaves the body. So when this happens, when they fill their body, they will leave. In case of leech, we will do as per the need. But in general, we should tolerate when we cannot do anything else. And one who is a patient, he has to tolerate. So Krishna is saying, Agama Payino Nityas, there is beginning, there is an end, it is temporary, but it is still a temporary. Like sometimes it becomes too hot or it rains too much, but what does one do at such a time? You have to keep the patience, like what's happening in the Queensland at the moment. There is no other option than, keep your patience.
Yeah.
You cannot do anything against that. You can't stop rains by putting your, we are not like Krishna will put the Govardhan and stop the rain clouds. We can't do that. So we have to tolerate. And that by tolerance only we can win against this.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of problems in terms of, people would be, dying or this and that, houses will be collapsed etc. But this is what the word is all about. So word tolerance is used in a different ways when it is used in anywhere, like in the media, they use a lot of tolerance, this and that, So tolerance is used with respect to religion also. So in Bhagavad Gita, we are talking about different kind of tolerance, not the religious tolerance. Here the tolerance is about what is your duty in terms of you as a person, in which state you are. So with that tolerance in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is talking about you should not become important. Do your duty according to the dharma in which you are. Dharma of water is to give cooling. Dharma of fire is to give heat. The dharma of Kshatriya is to do the administration or fight. So when you are put into that situation, Arjun, you have to fight. Yuddha kar. प्यार न जता दुश्मन से युद्ध कर. So that is the duty. He has to do that. And there is no other option, no other option, no other option. So this is what Krishna is trying to tell Arjun. So we'll close the class today here on this note. Next week, we will start from 15th verse. And my expectation from all of you, start from 15 to 20. Please read the purport and come so that I can only explain the verse. Then I'll be hospitalized in the next week, but let's do the Vaishnava Pranam and then I'll talk about that. So Madhuri, can you start? वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रील भक्ति श्रीला श्री राधा गोपनाथ भगवान की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।